God is in the business of doing good to us, including connecting us to the right person for a relationship. He is out for our good, and He makes sure His children get the best of things, which include the best man or woman for us. God does not have a problem revealing His plans and purpose for your life or revealing the right man or woman for you if you choose to obey. He will either warn you against the thing or give you a sign of approval to embark on that thing which you have asked of Him. That is why it is very important to have a close relationship with God so that you can be able to tell when He shows you signs, so that you can equally know when He is the one speaking to your heart about a person. There is no perfect person out there for anybody, but there is a right man or woman for every one of us, and God will always show you signs that the person your attention is drawn to is either the right person or the wrong person. One of the very signs that God is connecting you to the right person is that you will have a deep conviction about that person, and every form of doubt will be silenced by that conviction. Also, questions that seemed unanswered will begin to sprout answers. Beyond the emotional connection you may likely have with a person, you will have a deep and strong conviction that he or she is the right one for you. And you can only know this if you know how God speaks to you. That is why it is very important to have a deep relationship and fellowship with God. God will never connect you to someone who is not in the light. That is, someone who is not of God and not a believer. You will know if someone is the right person if that person is a believer, because light and darkness have no relationship. The Bible in 2 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 14 states, "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? Darkness and light do not have any connection, and so, another way to know God is connecting you to the right person is that He will connect you to one of His children, someone who is in the flock." Another sign God is connecting you to the right person is that you will begin to notice that you have gradually started developing a desire for that person. It may turn out that you have never really considered the person, but suddenly you will notice you are being drawn to the person, and you seem to notice each and everything the person does. Do not wave such desire away, but prayerfully ask God for His help and directions, because feeling and emotions are not always right connectors. You will also notice that you suddenly but gradually become friends with that person, and that you begin to take note of things you might have ignored about that person. God is very much intentional about us and the people we relate with, so He will not bring someone your way who does not have the same views, values, and belief systems. Another sign God is leading you to the right person is that you will notice your values will begin to align with that person as regards things that matter most, which include family and faith. You will begin to see things almost the same way. God is not a God of confusion. He knows He created every one of us and knows best what will work better for Mr. A and what will work for Mr. B. So, as a child of God, seek to know what God has for you. Seek to know God's intention about you, because God is ever ready to speak to us if only we listen. God can equally use your pastor or parents to connect you to the right person, but in this case, you will and should be very careful, because it can be from their selfish point of view or selfish reasons. Just because someone goes to the same church as you does not mean they are right for you. Another sign to know God is connecting you to the right person for a relationship is if they are leading you back to Christ. The person God is leading you to will constantly seek your best interest and will never ask you to compromise on your beliefs or standards. They would pray with you, and for you and your relationship will be a representation of Christ's love for the church. A sign that you and this person are meant to be is if the relationship gets better over time. This does not happen coincidentally. Both parties must be working on themselves, gradually improving on themselves, and gradually improving on the relationship. We were all born in sin. Therefore, we must all look to Christ to help us become better versions of ourselves through Him. Every day we must seek to become more like Christ, and our lives and everything that surrounds will become better as a result. One of the ways you know God has sent you the one is if you see progression in that person's life. If they're constantly working on themselves, there is a great chance that they will be willing to work on making their relationship better over time. One other sign God will use to connect you with the right person is through dreams. This may be correct, but we must be very prayerful and witty in our judgment because dreams are not enough. You may dream that you are to be married to someone and wake up thinking it is a sign God is connecting you to that person. I admonish that you be careful because dreams most times are a representation of those things you were thinking or worrying about during the day or what we did during the day's activities. Another sign God is leading you to the one is that you can have an open communication with this person without fear of being ridiculed or put down. Open communication is important in any relationship, but more so in one that is supposed to lead to marriage. I am not only talking about average communication daily, but it should be easy to communicate with this person about the difficult stuff as well. You should be able to sit down and have discussions about the future and come to some mutual agreement on matters that concern your lives. Communication with that person should never come as a burden. Rather, that person should be your go-to person. If you find yourself always having to be cautious about what you say for fear of being criticized or judged, based on your opinion, then it is probably a sign that you should not be in such relationship. Another sign God is connecting you to someone for a relationship is that you will have peace. The thought of that person will not bring fear into your heart. Instead, you will be at peace. I am not saying you would not have challenges, but once your inner self is at peace with someone, then it is a sign that God is connecting you to the person. Another important sign to note is that you will find out the person loves you genuinely. He or she must love you for who you are, and not just because of what you have. God will connect you to someone who is like Him, who behaves and acts like Him, both in character and in action. The person will not be after your body or after material things. Rather, he or she will be concerned about your soul and your growth. It is also important to note that when God is connecting you to the right person, He will also speak to someone about the person, meaning you will get a confirmation from other people about the person. It is human to be selfish, to seek to fulfill one's need before others. However, when God is connecting you to the right person, you will see the need to be more accommodating. You will seek to fulfill the other person's need. A clear sign that God has sent you to someone your way is that they respect your wishes and desires. They do not impose their wants on you, and they ask about what you want rather than always desiring things to be done their way. It is also important to note that when God is leading you to the right person for a relationship, the person will equally be interested in your good and bad times. That means that when problem or trouble arises, the person will not leave you alone to handle those issues. He or she will like to be there for you, no matter the circumstances. Above all else, it is important to ask God, just like Matthew chapter 7 verse 7 states, "Ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you." So, whatever the case may be, ask the Lord for direction. He is willing to help you and lead you to the right person for relationship.